Well, good evening and welcome to Jen Cares, powered by Chosen Counselors. I'm your host, Jen Cares, and the founder of Chosen Counselors, a nonprofit organization that seeks to inspire, motivate, empower, and strengthen individuals and families like you. As always, thank you all so very much to each and every one of you for joining us every week or whenever you do pop in. I truly, truly appreciate it. Thank you for tuning in, liking, sharing, commenting, and watching again. I really, really just appreciate each and every one of you. So let's talk about last week. Last week, these segments, we put it on for the community, but I also enjoy when I get something too. And when you are pursuing your why not, you have doubts sometimes. It's a roller coaster. Life is a roller coaster. I may write about that one day, who knows? But I want to also give you a Jen's life moment, okay? Last week, I have a lot of different things on my plate. That's just who I am. I say yes to some things I should probably say no to. But nevertheless, in engaging in some of my why nots, some things got me to thinking, what was I thinking, Anyway, last Monday, normally on Mondays, I really try to get myself together, be calm, cool, collected. And Monday morning, somebody knocked on my door. And I went downstairs and my neighbor said, somebody sideswiped your car. And I looked over, I saw the mirror on the ground. Everything else looked in pretty good shape. But again, on Mondays, I try to keep it light. I want to prepare myself and get myself together. But that wasn't what I wanted to hear on a Monday morning, especially when I'm trying to do good in the world, okay? And I don't want to pay for that. Like, come on. But nevertheless, on Monday night, that Don't Give Up, that was a great inspiration because guess what? Distractions come sometimes. That could have threw me off my game. But, I kept myself calm, cool, collected. It probably wasn't until Friday that I really embraced that it really did happen. But I became a student last week, too. Every week I'm a student to be inspired, motivated, and empowered and strengthen my own self. But it's a car, but it's my car. It's my beautiful bee. But what I'm saying is that whatever thing it is that you're doing, and engaging in your why not, stay focused. I have a lot of pots on the stove as shared, but the benefit of that is that eventually one of those pots get off. Okay. And on Friday, when I saw my neighbor again, he said, you handled that pretty well. We never know who's watching us. So even in our moments of going forth in our purpose and destiny, those distractions and things, be encouraged. It will work out. Just watch how you respond because you never know who you are inspiring. So yes. It was funny too because I taped it up. It looks a little ghetto. I said that it looks ghetto over here. And somebody said, it's only temporary. I got inspired by that. Setbacks are only temporary. You want to keep on going. And that's what we're talking about on tonight. Starting that business. That's what we're talking about all this month. Knowing what's in your toolbox, fulfilling your purpose, not giving up, starting that business or whatever it is on tonight and the next week that you can do it. So I hope each and every one of you are challenging yourselves, that you are aware of how you're responding to situations, and that, hey, if it does stink, it stinks. It's not nice all the time, but knowing that you can make it through. So that's my spiel. Let me tell you something else that I got going on. Your girl is doing a day of empowerment on Saturday, May 15th from 10 to 1 p.m. It's going to be virtual. It's going to be amazing. And I think I'm going to give away another ticket tonight. So we want to look out to hear what the keyword is tonight so that you can maybe obtain a ticket. But if you don't get that ticket, please head on over to Eventbrite because I have a goal. And this is my birthday weekend, May 15th. My birthday is May 16th. Y'all send me a happy birthday. Thank you in advance. But as a gift, just buy a ticket and support because it's going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing. What are we saying in the comment section? Hey, Mom G, good evening. Good evening to you. Oh, Gab said, when you're pursuing your why not, life is a roller coaster. Love that. I love that too. You can write the book for me too, Gab. Let me know. Thank you for always encouraging us. Looking forward to my why not, staying focused as we engage. Great sharing. Oh, so awesome. So awesome. Mom G said, very good distractions. Yes. And we get distracted when we're trying to start something that we want to do. And tonight we have the most amazingest guy that's going to help us know how to do some things, Dr. Wesley Proctor. He's going to talk to us about starting a business, going to help us get our lives together. So help me welcome and introduce Dr. Wesley Proctor.
Woo! Hello. It's great to be here again. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you.
It is such a blessing, and you're doing some amazing things on your show. I've been following the speakers you've been having, the wealth of information you've been bringing, not just to the community, but I think it makes a great staple in the social media realm, because you don't see many people doing this. So
Right. Awesome. Thank you. That's good to hear. And that's really important. And we'll get into this a little bit because knowing what your lane is and staying in your lane and being true to you and tapping into an untapped resource causes it to be such a blessing. Because if everybody's doing the same thing, somebody's not going to watch something. So I'm grateful that it is something different. So thank you so much for that and following. So you never know who's watching.
Absolutely. I love it. Yes. Loving it.
Okay, so as always, we start with a quote of the day. And today's quote of the day is, I knew that if I failed, I wouldn't regret that. But I knew the one thing I might regret is not trying. And that's by Jeff Bezos. Again, I knew that if I failed, I wouldn't regret that. But I knew the one thing I might regret is not trying. What's your thoughts on that, Doc?
When I first read that quote, this is going to sound crazy, but I thought about my undergraduate years at the University of Delaware and how I went in on a full scholarship to study electrical engineering and get an MBA. It was like a 5-year program. Mm-hmm. I got a full scholarship. I was so happy my mom didn't have to pay anything. And I really struggled through engineering. But I think the thing that really got me was differential equations with linear algebra part 3.
I'm already lost. Go ahead, though.
First 4 credit F.
Oh, goodness.
And you talking about somebody who was shattered. I thought my whole world came to an end. I was like 19 years old. Mm-hmm. I had never failed a class in my whole entire life. And I was 1 point away from passing. And the professor just would not give me that point to get to pass. And I'll never forget, I had my daily bread in my book, and it fell out my book. And he said, well, I hope Jesus helps you pass, the course. When I got the 4 credit F, I almost got kicked out of the University of Delaware because it took me below the 2.0 mark. I almost lost my scholarship. And I experienced failure on that level because it affected so many things. And here I am today. And I graduated with a doctorate degree, with a PhD degree from the University of Pennsylvania. Mm-hmm. And I never looked back at how that failure really propelled me where I am today. And sometimes it can paralyze you and make you feel like you just can't go on. But it really helped me to get into the career path that I'm in today. And I'm very grateful that I was able to bounce back.
Yes.
And literally be where I am today, because many times people don't bounce back from failure. And I would have lived with a whole bunch of regrets to take the plunge of fighting through and really sticking it out, because it's painful. Failure is painful. Mm-hmm. And it's our reaction to it that's very key. You can either go in it and become bitter about it, or you can go through it. And as you're going through it, you're going to cry. You're going to have good moments. You're going to have bad moments. But the main thing is you're moving. You have and you're pushing along, even in your pain and in your distress. But at the end of the day, no one is going to remember me for getting an F in differential equations with linear algebra part 3. Yes. All I know is that I'm Dr. Proctor.
Yes.
I know the process of what it took for me to be Dr. Proctor. And that's what is failure could be a mirage or an illusion, I like to say, of having you think it's the end. Part of the process of getting us there. And I think failure is good sometimes because it keeps us grounded. It keeps us dependent on the Lord. It keeps us focused on the main thing. And the main thing is whatever the goal is to have that, God has placed before us. So I think failure is good. And I think we try to avoid it, but we can't avoid it. We're all going to fail at something. Fail is our reaction that's going to cause us to really decide if we're going to succeed or if we're going to move forward. So
yes, Oh, that's good. Now I have a question on it. It wasn't what I sent you, but the piece of, nobody knows that piece per se, but the one person that does know it, or the people that know it now, because sometimes we have these people that want to remind us of those moments. So what's a good thing to do when somebody wants to remind us of that down moment, that failure moment that we didn't allow to paralyze us, but it was a moment where it's like, can I keep going on? What do we say to those that want to try to knock us back down?
Yeah, and that's a good question. Yeah, and they may say things, and yes, it might be true, but you don't stay there.
Mm.
You you take this situation just like they did with me. Well, Wesley, you failed this course. Your average is below a 2.0, and I kept being reminded of how I'm going to get over that hurdle. But
Mm-hmm.
it was there. I acknowledged it, but hey, this is what I plan on doing about it, or this is what I'm currently doing about it. So you're not so focused on the failure, because sometimes hearing it takes your mind back to the whole process of how you got there. But
Yes.
move from how you got there
Mm.
to really saying how I'm going to get from the failure to making it into victory. So in other words, how can I move this F in differential equations with linear algebra? I got the F. There's nothing I can do about it. I can't change it.
Mm-hmm.
Now that I have it, what did I learn from it? What
Mm-hmm.
what did I do to try to solve the problem? And what did I do to make myself better? And that's the other thing. And I'm sorry, tangent, but that's the other. We have to look inside ourselves to say, what did I do to cause this, and what can I do next time not to let it happen again? See, that's it's like sin.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I may have made a mistake. It wasn't my intention to do it, but it happened.
Mm-hmm.
But now that it happened, what can I put in place? What kind of boundaries can I put in place
Mm.
from doing it again? What can I learn if I retract my steps on how I,
Mm.
what can I learn from that situation so that I can alleviate those steps? And now I'm able to share how I moved from an F,
Yes.
graduating from an Ivy League institution where my grades on paper didn't even warrant me to even get a look for me to
Mm.
be there. That's why you can't go by what you see. And those of you who are listening and that are faith people, it's not always go by what you see. You got to go by what God said. And it's a faith walk, but
Mm.
I'm a challenge you. If you go by the walk and you trust in God, He will guide you and He will lead you.
Mm. Mm. It's starting good already. Because in our why not, there's different things that causes us to get to the point of saying, well, why not? Let me just try this. And these are the things, as you said, those failures, they propel you and, catapult you into some different areas. It's like, well, let
Hey,
me
Jen,
try this and see how it works out. Go
hey,
ahead.
Jen, can I just say one more thing? I'm sorry.
You all right?
Everybody that you see that is successful failed at something.
Mm-hmm.
It got there. Somebody like Beyonce, I'll just use Beyonce because she just popped in my head. She was just recognized by the Grammys. She has the most Grammy awards ever. I think it's 26 Grammy awards she's received. She's superseded everybody who's ever gotten a Grammy award. But no one knows all the auditions that her parents dragged her to.
Mm-hmm.
YouTube, when she was on Star Search when she was a little girl and she didn't win.
Mm-hmm.
All of that stuff made her into what she is today. But if you look at her, you would always think that she had it easy. And
Mm-hmm.
the misconception about success. We never, because nobody, who wants to hear about people failing? Who wants to hear about people failing? And then, Jen, the example you gave to my students in the class about 409, those
Mm-hmm.
failed 400 and something times
Mm-hmm.
before they got it right. And it is one of the best disinfect products that we have ever.
Mm-hmm.
But they kept at it.
Yes.
I wanted to leave it.
Mm. So good. Kat said, you teaching good, real good already, Doc, ain't he? Sandy said, right, very good. How you got there. Mm.
Yes.
Hey, Mama Wanda, I love you too. Mama Wanda has been a supporter since day one. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Crystal said,
Thank
you got
you,
to trust
everyone.
the process. Oh, goodness, goodness, goodness. So we're going to trust the process. So we want
Yes.
to start something. And it's themed, start the business, but whatever it is that you want to start eating healthy. You want to start living right. You want to start whatever it is. That's what we want to talk about. But we also want to pick his brain a little bit because he does some things in the nonprofit and for-profit industry. Okay. So anything is possible. So chosen friends, I have some questions, but be sure to drop down your questions below. Engage in this conversation is going to be good. So Doc, you shared some things that we saw, but my question is, we talked about the schooling piece of that sort. So what you're doing right now, was that always what you wanted to do? What was the road to you getting to where you were? What was the path of, oh, let me try this. That didn't work. Let me try that. What was that process like for you?
Oh, that was a bunch of failures too. So I went to college 10 years straight, earned my, became Dr. Proctor from the University of Penn. And then when I graduated, I kept applying for jobs and no one would hire me. I wanted to be, my goal was to be a college president. That's really what I wanted to be.
Okay.
And ironically,
is that from like high school you wanted to be a college president?
That was after the engineering piece didn't work out, and I wanted to go into education because I was my major from education to, from engineering to education, but my scholarship wouldn't have covered the extra time I had to stay. So I had to major that I could get out. So I did English, and then I said, well, I'll pursue education on the grad level. So that's exactly what I did. So my doctorate degree is in education, but I was going to do elementary ed and I was going to be a teacher, elementary school teacher. But then I was like, no, I don't want to deal with the lower kids. I just think I want to do college and be done. So I saw an ad at Temple for higher education. And I was like, yeah, I like higher education because that's college, that's the students, da, da, da. So that's pretty much what I did. So I graduated from Penn, couldn't find a job. And I remember telling my pop, Apostle Ellis, and it was just so hard. And my mom and my sister was paying my bills, and I'm living with my mom. And here I am with this PhD. I'm 26. I don't have no money. I don't have nothing. And all I could do to keep busy was to volunteer at the church. Never knew that would have springboarded into me working for the church full time. I started off part-time. Apostle, Pop was gracious enough to hire me part-time. And then I went from part-time to full-time. And I've been full-time since 1998.
Okay.
And it was not on my radar to even work for the church full-time. That wasn't even on my radar. But then as Dad's ministry began to grow, there became many needs that I saw and he saw. So it was just easier for him to have me on board because I was already there. I knew the flow of the church. I had his heart. So it was just best to have somebody there. And then from that point, I just stayed with the church and I just never looked back. So, and I'm happy there. And I still am very happy. So it was just a good fit for me. And then I guest lectured for a class. And the professor of the class happened to be the chair of the department. Mm-hmm. Like, we're not teaching. And then she went to Penn. I went to Penn. We both got our degrees from Penn. So it was kind of like, here's my card. You need to call me because you need to be a teacher. You stuff. And then maybe a year later, she emailed me. She was like, hi, remember me? I was wondering if you would be interested in teaching a class at Villanova. So then, that turned into me teaching there. Then they had a program with the prison. I went into prisons and taught the class there. That was the second class. Then she had a professor who got really sick and she needed somebody to step in. Mm-hmm. So then and taught the class for a semester. So now there's 3 different classes, 3 different semesters. She was like, listen, she was like, we have a line. They call it a line. We have a line open for a professor. And I just think you would be perfect for it, blah, blah, blah. And that's how I got to where I am today.
Yes. I like this. So I've been taking some notes this month and always taking notes. But something you said the benefits of volunteering first. And sometimes people take that for granted. But I can't tell you how many interviews, well, not how many, because, okay, an interview I've been on to get the job that I have in a previous job to get supervisory experience. I got that from volunteering at church. So being over a ministry, that gave me the skills that I needed, because a lot of jobs say, well, do you have any supervisory experience? I said, I sure do. I'm over the announcement ministry. I oversee so many staff, making sure everything goes well, things of that sort. So it's a benefit in volunteering because you're learning the skills you need. So that was a good one. And then you never know how it could work out for you to get a job. You got a job from it at the church. But then you never know who's around and watching, because you just went to fill in and then got 3 gigs to be teaching and still doing it.
I went to fill in, and I went to talk about nonprofits because Minister Marquise, who's, you all know, young man that I mentor, he works with me a lot in helping, because I help people get their 501c3 and I do their paperwork. So he went through this program. He was like, that is the missing element, is the practical part, because you get the academic, but you don't get the practical. So I just taught, and she looked at me like, well, how do you know all this? And I'm like, well, it's just the law. I mean, you just read up on it, you learn it. And after doing so many of them, you just become fluid in it. And I'm very grateful that I was able to bring that level of expertise to the department that I'm working in now as an assistant teaching professor, to be able to share my nonprofit experience. So I used to do it for nothing. And then no, you don't need to do that for nothing. You need to charge, you need to do this, you need to do that. And it's full-blown business. And let me say this about your business. One of the signs in starting a business is if you can do what you do, whether you get paid for it or not. That's a clear sign that it's connected to your passion. Because if you're doing it for the money, your motivation for doing it is going to run out. There has to be something deeper on it for the money. And I always tell my business owners this: when you're embarking on a business and you're doing this work, because the people are going to get on your nerves, you're going to get your own nerves, you're going to do it every day. You're not going to always want to deal with the people every day, but it's your love for what you do drive you to do what you do. I know that's a paradoxal, but it will drive you, and that passion will exude, and people will know that you're very passionate about it by the way you demonstrate excellence in delivering your service. You can't be excellent in delivering your service, don't open up the business in that area.
Very true, very true. That's funny you said about they have the academic piece, but not the practical, really day-to-day piece. I always said that as I pursued my degree in social work and psychology and counseling, because you'll tell me what the books say, which is great. But when I get out to that house, what you told me in them books is not the same situation. So it's always great to have somebody that's on the ground, really knowing what's going on, engaging with the community. And I'll put that plug in. Thank you so much for even being able to, share with your students to help them to get that balance too, to know what it's really like in the real world. Like, you're teaching them the basics and the laws and things of that sort, but also saying it takes work, but it can happen. And these are some people that are doing that work. So yes, kudos to you.
And thank you. And the students that I teach at Villanova, they don't know the amount of work or the issues that are going on in the community. So I community to them. If you're going to be a public servant, if you're going to work in nonprofit, if you're federal government work, if you're going to give back to people, these are the issues you're going to have to roll up your sleeves and get in, because it is not always a clean cut thank you. There'll be people that you're going to help, they'll never come back and say thank you. There are going to be neighborhoods you're going to go into that you might have never stepped foot in.
Yes.
Look beyond that and say, what am I doing it for? There's a greater good here. And I want my students to always have that experience. You can't turn your nose up at people who need help. They need help. That's why they're looking to you. You got to be able to, got to be able to shift. You know what I mean? So I just wanted to say that.
Yes, I always tell the story when I was actively doing therapy more often. I had one client, she would cuss me out every week. We met weekly, and every week she would cuss me out. And then after she got off her horse or her step stool of cussing me out, she'll calm down and say, why you keep coming to see me? I just cuss you out every time you say it. look, I'd rather you do it to me than do it to somebody else. So that's in love with what you're doing, because the wrong person would be like, what? You call me what? And then go back. You can't do that. You have to know how to handle yourself. And again, they teach you, academics don't teach you how to handle that. Somebody cuss you out, call you different things. After why you want to give them a little something too. But loving what you do. Very good. Very good.
And you got to be able to do it whether you get paid for it.
Whether you get paid or not.
Because if you're doing it for the money alone, it's not going to sustain you. It's not going to fulfill you. It's just not.
And if we're honest, sometimes the money you do get doesn't really add up to all that you're doing.
Yes. Say amen to that.
Amen. Amen. Huh.
Yes.
Okay, so since I have you, I'm going to pick your brain a little bit about some businesses. Last time we talked about this daycare, and I'm trying to find out. You said you don't want the babies, but you said I can turn a non-profit daycare into a for-profit daycare. How I work this out? Let me see. Just in case I wanted to do it.
So most daycares, most people don't know that you can set up a daycare as either for-profit or a non-profit. Well, it's been my experience as some of my clients and have their daycare center as a for-profit. And most of the time they have it as a for-profit because they want total ownership of it. You want that total ownership if it's a non-profit, because the governance, the ownership within a non-profit corporation is governed by the board of directors. Okay. So the board that you have to answer to. With a for-profit, you don't have to anybody. I could be the only owner. I could be the shot caller. I don't have to have meetings. I can make the decision and I can keep right on going. And on the compliance side of a for-profit, because it's personally benefiting me and I'm making a profit, it's for profit. So I'm making a profit off of it in the eyes of the law. So the law says that whatever money you bring in for those services, we're going to tax you on. That income. So if you bring in $10,000 a year in daycare fees, and you could have spent the whole $10,000 by the end of the year and don't have any of that money left, IRS in the state, in the city's gonna say, before you spend that money, you got to pay taxes on that income, federally and locally, because you benefited
from the money,
from those services, because you told us you owned this business, and because you made the decisions, because it's benefiting you, you got to pay taxes on that revenue that the company brought in. So that's daycare. Nonprofit side, the IRS says, because of your mission, because of your purpose, we're not going to charge you, we're going to exempt you from paying taxes on the income that you bring in, because you're helping a group of people become better in some way. And with a daycare, because it's educational / children related, them become better, whether it's through activities, whether it's through learning, whatever that may be, it fulfills the organizational test for it to be a nonprofit. So, and as a matter of fact, in the 1023 application, it had a whole section dedicated to just daycare centers. Like if you're going to start a daycare center in the 501c3. So the for-profit says it's benefiting you and you got to pay taxes. The nonprofit says it's benefiting a group of people and you're helping them become better, and we're not going to charge you taxes. That doesn't mean you can't make a profit as a nonprofit. It just means that whatever profit you bring in, you're going to put it back into the organization to help further the mission.
Got it. So,
it just depends on your level of comfort. If you want to be the shot caller and you want to own it and you don't want to answer to anybody, then you do the for-profit. If you don't mind answering to a board and it's more about the mission than it is about you personally benefiting from it, then I would say go nonprofit. But most of my clients has switched from for-profit to nonprofit because they don't want to pay them taxes. And they get the benefit of applying for other grants under the Internal Revenue Code 501c3, which is the federal recognition of you being a nonprofit corporation. So it just depends on how you do it. Like if you're doing a lot of youth programs and you're really engaged, you're feeding the homeless, it would benefit you to be an LLC because you're going to be paying taxes on every bit of money you're going to bring in. And then that give you money, they're not going to be able to write it off as a tax deduction because you, the owner, is personally benefiting from it.
Mm-hmm.
Write off to the person that's given to it. And it could be a good cause, but because of your business structure, you can't benefit from that.
Got it. So I'm not really opening up a daycare. I just thought that the breakdown of the difference between the two is a good example to know if you want to explore a for-profit or a nonprofit. So you want to pay taxes, you do that for-profit. You don't want to pay taxes, it's going to go back into that what you're doing. You want to do a nonprofit.
Yes, and I'm glad you brought that up, Jen. The other part about for-profit and nonprofit is some things that we want to do just do not fit the nonprofit organization.
Okay.
So you could be publishing Christian books and it's religious, but it's not considered a nonprofit effort because you're going to profit off of the publication of these books. So, you have to really examine what your purpose is, and then that purpose is put through by the federal government, which is called an organizational test, to really see if you're going to fit
the category,
this boundary of being a nonprofit, or you need to be a for-profit. So I try to forecast that with my clients when they go in and say, I think that's more for-profit. And if you want to do that, then you keep that separate from the nonprofit arm, that kind of thing.
Got it. So I like what you said there. You said that there's still a boundary because we talked about failure and like exploring why not and things of that sort. So there's still some guidelines that we have to follow to help us to not fall. But if we do slip over, we have a problem with some people.
Yes.
What are some boundaries we should be aware of when trying to start a business or, putting our whatever it is that we're starting? What are some boundaries we should be aware of?
Well, I think that's a great question. I think the first boundary is knowing what your passion is and knowing what your programs and services are going to be and sticking within that boundary.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you a great example. I do paperwork. I'm the one that's going to keep you legal, get your federal status. If you're going to do a nonprofit, get your legal, get your for-profit. If you're going to do an LLC, people ask me all the time, oh, Dr. Proctor, can you do grant writing? I can do grant writing. I want to stay in my lane because grant writing takes a lot of time. So I don't pivot that service out because I want to stay in my lane. I want to deliver, but I want to deliver with excellence. So if I know I got 5 clients who need their paperwork done and I got a grant application here, I'm going to do the 5 clients that need their paperwork done before I do your grant application, because that's really where my bent is and my passion, and I don't stray from that. So people try to take on additional services just because they can, but are you going to be excellent at it?
Ooh.
That's the main thing. And you have to know your boundary. You have to know your limitations when it comes. And when I started Wesley Proctor Ministries, we did the book award. Mm-hmm. People wanted us to partner with them, to do workshops and seminars and all that. I wasn't led to do all that. And the reason why I wasn't led to do all of that, because I wanted to master the one thing that first, before I started venturing out into all of these different things. And my heart was to give the kids book money for college. It wasn't to be on this platform with Beyonce. It wasn't to be on this platform with Steve Jobs. It was just to give out scholarships. Mm-hmm. And sometimes we could be an octopus because somebody's saying, hey, you need to come over here, or hey, you need to come over here. But that may not always be the wisest thing to do. You gotta master the one thing you do well. And I hear my dad in my voice all the time. You got to keep the main thing the main thing.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So don't try to be a master of all trades and you haven't mastered one thing. And that's what we get off of focus because we're trying to do too much. We got our hands in too much. Scholarship, and that was it. 50 years later, we've been able to give out over 400 scholarships. We just had Brian Westbrook at our event, the last event we had in person, pre-COVID, and a lot of kids' lives have been changed through the Book Award program. And just think if I had did it one time and that had been it. See what I'm saying? You gotta create boundaries. If you do event planning, okay, what aspect of event planning are you going to do? Are you going to be down? Are you going to give me a little checklist? Or are you going to, hold my hand through the whole entire thing? You as the business owner have to know your limitations. And if you're not strong in that area, either staff that weakness or don't offer that service.
Or don't offer that service.
I can give you, because it's going to be a reflection on you. And now today, 20 plus years later, people are like, no, go to Dr. Proctor. Dr. Proctor can do your paperwork. That's what I'm known for. I'm not known for all of this other stuff. I do what I do, and I'm grateful that people trust me. But at the same time, I know my limitations. I get so many strange phone calls every week about, Dr. Proctor, can you do this? Or can you be, I'm like, no, I can't do this. I can't do that, but I can do this and I can do that. Because you have to control that. If you allow people to tell you what they want you to do, you'll be overextended and you'll be burnt out.
Burnt out. That's good. That's I like that of staying in your lane, keeping the main thing. Love that.
Yes.
A good piece of that I see sometimes they have of what I asked for versus what I got. And some people think they're a baker and that they can make these great creations and they'll ask for a SpongeBob cake and what they get is a sponge cake. It's not the same. So again, you have to know that you're going to somebody that is of quality. Even hair, a girl wanted her hair braided. What she wanted and what she got was two different things. So again, going to somebody that knows what it is they're doing, really looking at references. I am the queen of Yelp and Google places because I like to do reviews and things. But you want to find out, is this a good place for me to go to? And sometimes your experience may be different, but still your hope is that they have perfected that which they're promoting and that they know what they're doing. So when you go, you don't got to worry about a problem.
Absolutely. And the other thing is you want to check out people's track record. You just go with them and you don't know anything about them. Like if Jen refer somebody to me or versa, then I know they're of quality because I know Jennifer. You know what I mean? And that's the same way you need to be. But when it comes to that, when you take on a service, you need to also not be so tight and not want to pay for it. And I said this in our last conversation. I'm going to say it again. Sometimes you just need to pay for peace. You just got to pay somebody to get it off your hands because you don't know what you're doing. And you have to trust that person because it's their thing to do what they need to do. So we can't be afraid. And sometimes it may be a little higher. It may be out of our budget. But if it's going to give you peace of mind, knowing that it's in the hands of somebody competent, they have a proven track record, you know them, there should be no question. When you go to the restaurant, you're willing to pay. You don't see who's behind the kitchen cooking and doing all that stuff. All you know is that you're going to get that hamburger or you're going to get that rack of lamb or you're going to get them ribs.
Yes.
You trust it. And that's the we need to be when it comes to our paperwork and the services that we ask for. We got to trust the process, but you got to be willing to pay. Because when you for it, in my opinion, you value it. And when you value it, you can demand. See, when somebody for free, you can't demand because see, you on their time. But when you pay for it, there's a level of demand and expectation that you can put on the person or the service that you can't ordinarily put on when it's done for free. I'd rather pay and get the quality than not to pay and don't know what I'm going to get.
Absolutely. And again, you want to check the references because there's some times that I know some people that got some work done on their home and they paid the price. And then it wasn't a good service. I had somebody come and give me some quotes. One guy told me $1,000. Another guy told me $2,500. Somebody else said like $1,500. It was like one guy didn't go say, "Don't trust the guy that said $1,000." But I didn't necessarily trust that after I saw reviews saying that he wasn't good. But for you to tell me not to trust somebody else, you just tell me how good your service is and why I should get you.
Absolutely. And don't be talking about the other person. You just not to do. I don't like that either.
Yeah, because they just knocked them right out the park. Like, I don't even want you coming anymore. So again, being confident in what it is that you offer is something that's really big too. I started this program and one of the questions was talking about gender equality and things of that sort. And do you feel like there's competition and things of that sort? I said, I'm really confident in what it is that I'm giving. I'm staying in my lane. Right. I'm not on here doing something crazy. My heart is to help others, give them resources to help them be successful. That's what I'm doing.
That's what you're doing.
That's all I need to do.
And you're doing it well, by the way.
And then that piece of like referring, like, I could say, yeah, go to Doc. He got you covered. Why? Because I know his track record. And then some people say, you're always saying these people. These are the people I know. I tried somebody else. They didn't work out too well. That's not going to be on my name because my name is on the line. If I tell you to go to somebody and they do you bad, please come back and tell me they did you bad so I know you tell somebody else about them too. But again, it's that line of respect and communication, things that start hoping that we're giving you the best service possible.
Yes. And Jen, I see a young lady question here. I have a 17-year-old who is her craft as a graphic designer. Do you offer services to help him trademark, copyright his logo? So great question. Mm-hmm. I do not offer that service, but I do have somebody who does, and they are an attorney because they are different. And I just did a workshop on copyright and trademarks for logos and things of that nature, and I brought him in because he works with Brian Westbrook as well, who's the former NFL player. But to address your question, there is a trademark application, I know, for the state of Pennsylvania, but people don't know the trademark and copyright process on the national level. And there's a big difference between trademarking something on the state level and on the national level. And he definitely went over that. When you have something trademarked or copywritten, you have the right to sue. If I refer or somebody outside of that ownership of that logo uses your logo, you have the right to sue. And as a matter of fact, I can prove it because I remember at the church, our graphic designer used a logo, but there was no mark at the bottom to show that it was copywritten. Do you know the man called the church that he has the copyright papers, and he wasn't nasty or anything. He was very nice about it. He said, I would appreciate it if you didn't use that logo because I can sue you for using my logo without my permission. And sure enough, he had the papers, the trademark, everything. So, when you're trademarking on a national level, there's a different process that you go through legally to make sure that logo, that slogan is trademarked. And the gentleman, Albert Solar, and I can definitely forward it to Jennifer, and I'll have Jennifer forward it to you. Person to talk to.
Will do. Yes. That was nice of that person, how they responded.
It was because it really could have got ugly.
It could have. So kudos to that person. Yes. So this is trademark. This is logo. This is, knowing your passion and things of that sort. Let's talk about, I'm going to start with the board first. Those people that's helping you. I guess that's still your partners and investors too. What's the difference between an investor and a partner? And who should let's do that first. The difference between an investor and a partner.
So let's start with the investor. So the investor is a person that puts money into an investment. Let's say you're doing a dry cleaning business, and let's say I want to be an investor in your dry cleaning business. So I'm putting money into your dry cleaner business with the hope and the expectation that I, Wesley Proctor, am going to get something out of it in return of my investment. And when it comes to investment, it's an investment because without my money, without my resource, you couldn't build a business without it. Or you choose to use it to build the business, but then I just want something out of return for my investment, whether it's I want my money back plus 10%, if I want my money back plus 15%. The partner where it differs is there's no ownership. I just want my money back. The partner is different because now I'm going to invest either my capital or my time, but I'm investing it for ownership. So it's more of me as a partner. I'm joining your dry cleaning business as a partner because I'm going to help you move the business forward with the string attached that I'm an owner.
Got it.
which the investor is, you pay me back my money, you done with me.
Mm.
Because you couldn't do it without my money. But
Mm-hmm.
the shit means I'm tied to you because
Mm-hmm.
I have a percentage of ownership to the business.
Got
So
it.
you really, oh God, I could spend a whole 3 hours on this topic, but I'm just gonna keep it simple. Be careful who you join yourself to and who you partner with. If you don't remember anything else I'm saying, just because you grew up with Shaquita, and I have no disrespect with Shaquita, but just because you grew up with her doesn't make her a good business partner.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you're talking about business, you're talking about making decisions, you're talking about money involved, you're talking about the reputation of the business, you're talking about being able to deliver goods and services.
Mm-hmm.
Person, I'm not saying they got to be perfect, but
Mm-hmm.
you got to have some type of business sense,
Yes.
able to go into business with someone. So when you talk about partnership, and I've seen friendships divide up, I've seen businesses go amok because things just didn't work out. So you got to be careful here. And you really have to know that you know that you know that you know. I can't put it any other way, but that's the way it works. And that's why the nonprofit corporations gets a lot of criticism, because people don't want the control in the collaboration of having a board. But sometimes there's safety in the
Mm-hmm.
is this. There's safety in the multitude of counsel. So if you have an organization and it's governed by a board, you have different perspectives that you can weigh in on to say, hey, is this the best way for the organization to go? And that's why the nonprofit is so effective, because it not only has the board governance in mind, but it has the mission of the organization in mind. So you want to be cognizant of that when you're forming your business. If you don't remember nothing else I'm saying in this conversation, don't be so fluid. Don't be so loose to go into business with your friends. And I'm going to venture even say even some of your relatives. Just be very careful. You need to do some investigating. You need to check out their record, because now you're joining yourself to this person, people, and everything that's tied to you now becomes tied to them, because now you're business with them. So you gotta be careful here when you're talking about entering into business with people. Are they going to be a partner, or are they going to be an investor? And what does that look like? And there needs to be clearly written expectations, and there needs to be a clearly defined understanding of what the expectations are. It can't be none of this gentleman agreement where I told you I wanted 20%, you told me. No, it all needs to be written. It needs to be written, needs to be signed. No, and it can make people feel like you don't trust them, but it's business.
Yeah.
You gotta shift out of the mode of friendship and relationship and make it a legal business. Because if something was to ever happen and you were to ever go to the court of law, the court of law is going to ask you for your documentation, and you to be able to prove that without a reasonable doubt that this is what it is. So don't be so relational that you don't look at the paperwork. I'm done. Sorry.
That's good. I saw the article the other day. It was a guy, he got fired from his own company because he didn't want to go along with what some other people wanted him to do. However, his board then rehired him to bring him back in to take on the focus from where he was taking the business and things. So that's the benefit of your board, and your board believing in what it is that you're doing. Understand that you're standing your ground if it's something contrary to your passion and vision of why you started it, to help you stay on track. So that's good.
Yes, absolutely.
So this is another question. Because whatever it is that you're starting, whether it's a business or not, sometimes we connect with people and then we find out that these people don't mean us any good. What's that process to separate? You have to hide
it depends. And the reason why I say it depends on how far in they are. So if we're well, let me just back up. The main thing is the expectations need to be clear on what you expect from them and what they expect from you.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm going to go back to having it in writing only because it will alleviate a lot of confusion.
Mm-hmm.
If it's in writing, the two of you, if it doesn't end amicably, you can always go back and say, this is what we agreed to, and to preserve the friendship or relationship, whatever it may be, on what level, we need to stick to the contract or the memo of understanding that we both agreed to. Depending on that, it can be easy, but depending on the temperament of the person and what they've done, it can be messy. Because one thing I've learned is that you don't really there's two things you don't what am I saying? Two phases that you don't really know people. You don't know people until you marry them and you live with them, and you don't know people until you go into business with them. And sometimes as you walk with a person over time, you begin to find out like they slip is hanging. And I learned that on the when I was watching Ray Charles, Jamie Foxx. Sometimes the slip can be hanging and you don't know it. So just because you're good at your personal finances don't mean that you're good with business finances. So when you walk with a person and you're doing business, you begin to see all sides of them, just like a marriage, just any relationship. And whoever that person is that's walking with you have to be mature enough to see your flaws, to see your slip hanging, and still believe in you. And believe that you have the goods to be a good business person with them. If you can't do that, then it may not be worth you going into business with this person, because I'm going into business so fluid, we don't even realize the ripple effects, the legal effects, the relationship, the emotional effects that it on a person if this does not work out. And in my head, I'm thinking, what if this don't work out? And if it means me preserving our relationship above going into business, I'm going to preserve the relationship and not go into business with you. Because I value our relationship more. And I'd rather you be mad at me because we didn't go into business together than for us to go into business together and we come out and we're not speaking to each other. That's that, and this is why, and I don't know how I got here, but this and there's another issue when it comes to money. Like I like lending my friends money. I would give it to them because I don't want the fact that they can't pay me back be a factor in our relationship. And if I can't give the money, I'm just going to tell you I can't give the money, but I'll give you something towards it, but I may not be able to give you the whole thing. But to divide us because you don't have the means to pay for it. And then I don't want to be in my head, oh, you buying these Louis Vuittons and you owe me $300, all that stuff. So it's the same mindset when it comes to business. You gotta, especially with friends, you gotta say, can I separate our relationship and still be in business with you? And that's a rare thing. It's rare.
Yes.
It's rare.
Yes,
So,
yes. Definitely that, because it's been a lot of different times I've been, not necessarily business per se, but even we'll go back to church, volunteering at church, several ministries, several different people you become friends with. You learn their different traits. Who's going to have it done? Who's not going to have it done? Who's going to help you meet that deadline? Who's not going to help you meet that deadline? And sometimes we miss I don't want to say red flags, but we miss the alerts that let us know what the character of the person is and how they would respond and things of that sort, because we think, oh no, it's going to work out because we cool. It's a little different. It goes beyond.
And people don't have that maturity to separate. Hey, I'm the leader of this group and I'm bringing you because you did something wrong, but I'm doing it so we can fix it. It has nothing to do with my relationship with you. Many people can't separate that. You be like, you was just at my house the other day and you was ha with me, and now you bringing me in. You don't trust me. It's not even that deep. I'm just, bringing you in. So that's a whole nother subject, because sometimes you can't be friends with people you are leading. You just you because they have to have a certain maturity.
Yes.
To separate you, the leader, from the friend. And not everybody can do that.
Right. It goes to the piece of like parents can't be your friends. Now, there is a time that parents can be the friend, but you also have to know when the parent is being a parent. There's sometimes if they work on their neighbors, like, you do that one more time, I'll pop you. Oh, I just playing. No. You do that one more time, I'll pop you. So knowing the difference between the two.
And that's a great example, because my mom is my best friend. I feel like I can talk to my mom about anything, and that's a blessing. And I can talk to, Apostle about anything. He's my spiritual father. But I also know the place that they in my life.
Yeah.
So mom be like, oh, Wesley, I didn't like that. Or Wesley, you need to do that. I know and understand that she's shifting into mother mode. And that's a certain level of respect that's demanded, because she's not my friend. My friend first. She's my mother. So I have to have that in perspective of what I do. She's not my friend on the street. She's not somebody I talk to on the phone. Talk to, like that. I have to have that respect. And that's just how I was raised. It's about the respect. There are certain things I would say to my friends that I'm not going to say to my mother, even though I feel like she has that friend quality. I feel like, also has that friend quality, but he's still my dad. She's mom, you know what I'm saying? So, you're going to respect that. Just not going to cross.
Yes. And then you have to be careful for when that switch happens, because it can be like, ha ha, he, go do that. But like, what just happened? It can change at any moment.
Listen, my mother don't care that I got a PhD. She don't care that I'm the youth pastor. She don't care that I'm the professor. Listen, can you bring me some lunch? Out the garbage. Can you drive me here? Listen, ain't no PhD on that. I'm still Wesley, and I think that's good. Because it keeps you grounded.
Yes.
What's missing in this age, in this generation, in this time, nobody wants to be accountable for nothing. But that's a whole. I know this is on business, but we start these businesses to that point to be our own boss, so nobody could tell us what to do.
Yes.
And we don't have to answer to nobody. But it's not simple. It is just not that simple.
And again, whatever it is that you're starting. So again, we said business, but if you're starting a relationship, if you're starting a new job, if you're starting a family, there's different things that go on. It's not just a fly by night. People say, oh, I can do it. And then you find out, oh, this is a little different than what I thought it was going to be. This job, though I thought I had in the bag, the person I present at the interview is a different person I need at the job, because what they require of me is a little bit different. Absolutely. So then those boundaries come in place of, all right, I have to focus to figure out what it is they want me to do. I have to do my research to learn what it is I need to do, and keep yourself humble through the process, because you don't know it all. You don't know it all.
And we're looking at other people and our success by what other people are doing. And this is why I hate social media sometimes. And yes, I use the word hate.
Yeah.
Social media can portray this picture that people are so successful and they're thriving. And it may be the case that they had 200 people at the event, but the whole story.
Yes.
And then we get discouraged because we're seeing them and we're not focused on what God has called us to, or what business we originally started. I don't care if you got one person. I don't care if you got two people.
Yes.
If those two people invested enough in you to believe in you, you keep that business going. Don't measure your success by other people, because you don't know about it. You don't know what they went through. You don't know if they got it the right way. You just don't know.
Yes.
You gotta stay focused on what you are doing. And you gotta, it's almost like you gotta have tunnel vision. You just gotta block out and just do what you do. Stop looking for recognition. Stop looking for people to applaud you, because that may not happen. But just because people aren't applauding you, and just because you're not getting the turnout that you expect, people aren't watching. No, listen, when I was doing this 501c3 back in 2000, nobody knew who I was. I was one here, one there, you know, and I wasn't really thinking about it for recognition or anything like that. And this kind of blew up overnight. And I'm grateful to God that I have a lot of clients, but I wasn't in it for that. And if you take focus, see, all business is going to measure your motive of you are doing it. And if you're doing it for the right reason, every motive in you is going to be tested for why you are doing it. And if you can't pass that test, you're going to keep going over it until you are willing to let God allow you to pass the test. Pass.
And I'm the person that likes to see, you said something key before of like knowing what it is that you did, what you could have did different. I'm that person that wants to learn from every experience. It's a blessing and a curse. I'd be like, okay, so this happened. What was I supposed to learn from this? Was it supposed to slow me down? What was this, going on? Something I procrastinated with. I was like, all right, now I got to do it. And then when I went to do it, the way I normally do it is the easy way, but that way wasn't working. So I had to do it the long way. I had to hand type everything out. I couldn't copy and paste. I said, what is going on? And sometimes it's to slow us down. It's like, all right, you waited, but I wanted you to take your time and do it, because when you take your time, you learn from it. You're paying attention to what it is you're doing. Sometimes we know these quick tricks.
Yes, and you appreciate the way God...
You appreciate it.
Because sometimes if you start, I never was an advocate of starting off at the top. And that's what's wrong with this generation today. Starting off at the top, you need a pen to pop their head to get through the door. Cocky and arrogant. And sad. You gotta have some level of humility and just appreciate the process. It's not going anywhere. People aren't going anywhere. And some of these services we offering are a dime a dozen. Other people are offering the business. What makes you so great that they gotta go to you? What makes me so great that they gotta come to me? They could have picked anybody.
That's it. That's it. Just being grateful for where you are starting this. The sad part though is that sometimes there's people lurking out in the bushes that's hoping to see you fail and things of that sort. But you just being confident in what it is that you are doing, and also remembering that you're human. We're dragging so many people, counseling so many people, and forgetting that if not for grace, that could have been you too. And sometimes we are holding people at this pedestal and they can't, meet everything of that because they are still human. And again, we step out, so we might say some choice words and things of that sort, whether somebody around or not around. So sometimes just being humble, the ground is not that far from where you think it is. We could fall at any moment.
And you have to give people, even us leaders and preachers, you have to give us grace to make mistakes. And I think, and it should be a higher standard because we are in ministry, I get, but at the same time, and I'm not going to get on the whole Kirk Franklin. I'm not going to do that tonight because that's not the topic of conversation. But what I will say, when you're in business, you don't take people's mess either. That's the other part. And that's not you not being humble.
Can you sit right here? Sit right here.
So I'll give you an example. I had I don't mind telling you, I had a client and I did their paperwork the first time. It was very successful. Then the second time they came back to me and they was like, listen, we want to do something else. This has nothing to do with this, da 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 da. So because I knew this person, we had a good relationship the first time. I was like, hey, no problem, blah, blah, blah. Man, I did the paperwork, blah, blah, blah. Then he calls me on the phone and was like, well, I want my money back. He says, I want my money back because, I put up the money and the guys aren't willing to give me my money. And I'm like, but I did the paperwork. You agreed to this. So I said, listen, I'm not here to argue and I don't want to go back and forth. But I took the low road, even though I did the service. I gave him the money back. And I was fighting myself in the head the whole time. Don't you know, 2 months later, called me back and said, Dr. Proctor, I want to know if you would do our paperwork again.
Mm.
So I talked to him on the phone. I said, well, I really have to think about it because I didn't like the way it was done the first time. So I went through the whole thing. He knew. So he said, well, at least think about it. You give us your terms. We'll give you all the money up front. Da, 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 da. Jen, don't you know, I called him and told him that I was not going to do it. Because I didn't want to go through what I went through the first time. And I had a lot on my plate. And now this, which was once a priority to me, is now not a priority to me. So, and I explained it to her. I wasn't afraid. I said, listen, this is what happened. In light of what's happened, I'd rather you go to somebody else who can do it the way you want to be. And he was like, no, we want you. I said, I understand that. I said, but based on how it was done, I don't want to put myself in that position again and do it. And there have been clients that I haven't taken on because I just hadn't felt led to do it. So you gotta know your capacity too, because sometimes I'm juggling 3 or 4 clients and I'm not able to take on that 5th one because I need 3 or 4 done. And I might say, no, I can't take you on right now, or you need to call me like a month or 2. But because you're good at something and because people, respect what you do, you also have your own limitations. And I had to learn that as I'm going through the process, because I was yes. But then doing that paperwork, my eyes getting blurry. I'm up all night.
Yes.
A lot of work. It's a lot of work providing an excellent service and maintaining that bar. And if you feel like you can't hit the bar, you got to be true to yourself and you be true to the client and let them know, hey, I can't do it. And you may need to refer them to Joe Smo down the street. But and that's my whole other issue. Sometimes we have to collaborate. We can't be afraid to give a service to somebody else. So before you go broke, before you throw in the towel, you may not be able to take on that client because baby mama drama, you got personal issues going on. This is all you can handle right now. Put at the client you have on your slate now. Once that slate is clear, then take on new clients. And you'll learn that as you go. But my main issue is just be excellent to the clients that paid you.
I like it. Love it. I also like the piece of me saying like the high standard that they have of people that are like in ministry on pedestal and things of that sort, because they too forget that you're human. I teased last week, last Sunday, Apostle had given us some homework of, extend that kindness to people that God has given you. And I went to the grocery store, was trying to do my due diligence, taking somebody to the grocery store, helping, being a good Samaritan. And it was a lot of customers in there. And some of them thought that I could read minds to know that they wanted me to move out their way. And then they say, thank you, like those smart comments. Because that why you saying thank you when I didn't say nothing to you? Like, what'd you say that for? I know, because I've done it before. When I held the door, you didn't say nothing. I said thank you to you. I mean, you're welcome. So sometimes, we're human. So we get affected too if somebody rubs us the wrong way. And then I said a prayer, and I'm the special one because I walk around the store like, God, you just gave me this homework and I done failed already because these people think I'm mind readers. So I'm letting everybody around me know that I'm not a mind reader, and that if you want to say something, like say what it is so I know what it is you're asking. But even in those moments, like, did she do too much? Possibly. But in the moment, that's how I felt. That was helping me to stay together. Then the next person I came in contact with, hey, how you doing? It was great. So like sometimes you striking up batting 100, sometimes you're not. And being okay with that, with your own self, because people can hold you to the letter and be like, oh, you did that. Oh, you did that. When the only judge I know is God. And sometimes we get caught up in the expectations of people trying to meet what expectations they have, and we missing it. We like, well, what's going on? Sometimes we're going to miss it because we can't please man.
Right. And I'll give you another example. I had an invitation to be on a radio show, and I had to know my limitations. Even though it was great, it was a great opportunity, but I had to look at what I had on my plate, and I couldn't, teach, be a professor, do my responsibility at the church, do my nonprofit work, and do a radio show. It's a lot of prepping. Like it's a lot of prepping that
It
people
is.
see before you walk on that radio show. And anybody else would have just grabbed it and said, hey, I'm on the radio, da 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 da. And they're looking at me like, you don't want to do the radio? You don't want to be? I'm like, no, I don't want to. I don't want to do it because it's a lot for me right now.
Yes,
It's
yes.
a lot, and I know what I have to do. And imagine if I was married and I had kids. My goodness, there would be no way I could do it. So you have to know your limitation, and if it's meant by God for it to happen, if it's not, you have to be at peace with that. But you got when an opportunity is sent by God, because some things are sent by the devil to get focus and to distract us. And I'm not saying the radio show was sent to me by the devil, but I'm just saying something that looks like a blessing could really be a distraction to get us off of the main thing.
And also be careful that you didn't try to make it happen to work out and it wasn't God, because you can mess it up. The devil mess up. You wouldn't be the God.
And the Bible says, except the Lord build the house, they labor in vain.
In vain. And I don't got time to be doing nothing in vain. It took too long to get Jennifer where she is today. But it was funny because you listed all those things. Then you said, imagine if I was married with children, things. You didn't even talk about trying to have a life. It takes so much.
Yes, it does.
And I have a sister, bless her heart. She'd be like, come on, let's sing. I was like, so I'm going to sleep. She's like, you bored? That's cool. I have a lot that I do. So when I can get a moment to get some shut eye, she gonna get some shut eye, because there's too many nights that I don't get the shut eye, trying to make sure I got stuff together.
Yes, what you saying. And you just can't do everything. You
can't do everything.
You have to be okay with that. Some things you have to give a hard no to. And some things you're just going to say yes to, and do it, and it's going to be fine. But some things you just can't. You got to know your capacity. And that all takes us back to business. You got to know what you can do versus what you can't. We mess up.
So true, so true. You got to know what you do. And even some of the things you say yes to and you feel like it's a lot, it's not even so much it's a lot. It's just that, so somebody share with me, the way that I do Gen Care is I set it up, I send out questions, I try to make sure that the guest is totally prepared. Totally.
You do an excellent job with that.
Thank you. But to do that takes some time and things of that sort. And everybody doesn't do that. So me, I like the flow in excellence. I'll never forget 2013, the theme of the church was divine order, divine life. I say, oh, that's not divine order. You're not going to have divine life. That was my story. I was sticking to it. But that's what I flow in. I try to make sure what I'm doing is excellent. It's the best that I can do. I have a client, I edited her book a while ago. I just read it again and sent her, hey, these are some updates that I saw, because I want to make sure that she had the best thing ever. So sometimes that process of trying to have the most excellent product for the person that you're working with and helping and make sure that you did get all the lines and things covered takes some time too. And you got to be focused. You got to be rested. It's a process.
It is. Absolutely. And when we're talking about business, you may have an excellent product, and I see this a lot too, but you don't have your paperwork in order. You don't have your paperwork in order. I've had clients say, oh, Dr. Proctor, I have this opportunity to get a grant, and they're going to go to somebody else. I'm like, I don't have no control over that process. It's going to take 3 months because, we didn't do it the first time. So, I have to give clients the hard truth. Yeah. And it's not always easy, but have to do, and I know they came to me wanting that. So I have to give it to them in a way that is professional, it's polite, but it also aligns them to where they need to be. So, you can't apply for that Eagles grant because you don't have the 501c3 and you rush the process now because you need it. Now we got to go through the process of trying to get it done. And that's the piece that I really want to convey, because you may, as a business, you may not be ready to start a business on that level. You may want to do it independent of a business, like as an individual, to see how effective you're going to be. And then you may kick it up a notch and say, hey, I want to establish this as a business, because once you establish it as a business, there's tax filings that need to be done. There are reports that need to be put in. There may be a board of people you have to answer to, and all of that's an extra level of responsibility that as the business owner, have to be willing to take on, because part of you being the boss and the shot caller, you gotta have the beats.
You got it.
You gotta perfect your craft. You gotta have your paperwork in order.
Mm-hmm.
Be willing to answer the IRS letter when it comes in.
Mm-hmm.
You do all of these things because it is necessary to sustain your business. You got to get the business license. You got to get the occupancy. You got to do all of these things. Now you can't even open up a bank account, a business, as a business without these things. So.
Yes, Lord. And you go to the people that can help you, because I get a letter from IRS. Doc, wait a minute. This paper is saying what's going on. Sorry. Let me see what the comments are saying. Levine said, humility is so vital. Absolutely. Jacqueline said, a foundation starts from the bottom up, not from the top down. Anyone who wants to start from the top will not have a foundation to stand on when trouble comes.
That's so good. True. So true. That is good.
That was good.
Wow.
Will not have a foundation to stand on when trouble comes. Reminds me of the Three Little Pigs, the house with the sticks, the house with the hay, but their house with their brick, couldn't get in. Can't get it. And it takes time for that. Because sometimes we're in a rush. We're like, let's just throw this together. No, this takes a while to formulate and build. And then you want it to be sturdy.
Yeah.
She said we have to know our limitations. So good. That what's the key word for the night?
Nonprofit.
Okay. Thank you so much. So share, what was your why not to say let me start Wesley Proctor Ministries, or whatever it is that you're doing a couple of different things. But what was the moment where you said, why not? Let me go ahead and do that. Tell us like your that piece of that. So I know that you went to education because you wanted to help. Those book awards, I wish I knew about those, because books were expensive in college. I still have them, and I feel like I want to read them just because I paid for them. But what was the moments for you that said, what do I have to lose? I should take this path.
It was like, I remember being at my mom's house. It was like 2 a.m. and I was watching Oprah Winfrey, and she had these people on here that had one ideal, and it made them millions, of course, and they did it well. Mm-hmm. That really catapulted me into starting the James William Proctor Book Award. And I woke my mom up. I was like, Mom, this is what I'm thinking. What do you think? Da, da, da. She was like, I think it's a good idea. Then I went to Pop, and I was like, Pop, I really, feel like, it's time for me to start a nonprofit. I want to know what you think, and this is what I want to do. I want to start the book award. He was like, oh yeah, I think it's a great idea, and you should have been did it, and blah blah blah. Education is you. I mean, he really supported me the whole step of the way, and I'm just so grateful. And it was my mom, my sister, and I, and we funded the first book award, and we had over 200 people there. Mm-hmm. It was just an amazing event, and it just kind of mushroomed all from there. And I always go back to, I don't know if, those of you who swim, and that initial jumping in the water for the first time because it's so cold, mm-hmm. but you're okay. And that's the way starting a business is. Because I would rather you do it, and it takes the mystique out of your head of what it would have been like if you had did it, versus not doing it at all and you wondering how it could have been.
That part.
So I really do think, because you're always going to have that element of what if in your mind.
Yes.
So you never know who's going to bless you. You never know who God's going to put in your path. You never know who's going to meet you. And usually the blessings that we need or that come from our businesses are not from the people that are close to us. They're usually from people that don't know us, or may not be close to us, but you never know that. And you'll never know what you're capable of doing if you never try. You got to step out. Because you'll live in regret, like our quote. What was our quote?
Gotcha. Yeah. I knew that if I failed, I wouldn't regret it. But I knew the one thing I might regret is not trying.
That's it. That's the quote. That's the quote right there. And I knew that if I didn't do it, I would regret it. But I'd rather do it and fail and have no regrets, because and that's where most people don't want to do it because they don't want to fail. Well, you may fail, but you either. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
15 years later, we're still here. You know, happy where somebody else is, but we're still here, and we're trying. We done blessed over 400 students with scholarships, and Wells Fargo Bank gave my organization a building.
Amazing.
I ever thought, and if I hadn't have tried, we would not have free, clear, no mortgage, no nothing. And on top of that, we just got a grant to fund the inside of the building being done.
Very nice.
Had I not went out on faith to get it done, it never been in existence, and they would have gave it to somebody else. So you just never know.
You never know. The Bible says you have not because you ask not.
Absolutely.
And sometimes when you ask,
absolutely,
I leave it right down. So let's talk about this book scholarship. How can children apply? Is it going on this year?
It is not, only because of the pandemic.
Okay.
Typically, what happens is we do on our website, wesleyproctorministries.org. And there are a few scholarships. There's the James William Proctor Book Award, named after my father, my brother, and my grandfather. They all had the same name, James William Proctor, 3 generations.
Okay.
So high school students going to college, and it pays for their books.
Okay.
The Katherine Proctor Book Award, which is named after my lovely mother. Hi, Mom, I love you. And that's for a single parent who is in college and getting their degree. So we have a book award for that because my mother had 4 kids. She was a single parent, and she went back and got her bachelor's degree from Temple and got her master's from Lincoln University.
Okay.
I'm so proud of her. And then the Wesley Proctor Book Award for a student that's not a parent, male or female, that's just in college and need money for their books. But because of the COVID, we're slowly pivoting back for students to be able to apply on any of those levels. So those are the scholarship programs, but it started out initially with just the one idea, and that was the James and Proctor Book Award. And
you have perfected it to be able to give out to so many children. And I've been to the events. It's amazing. Another question. So you also do some workshops. Do you have some workshops coming up? I missed that trademark one. I think that one was a secret.
Oh, yes. Well, we just did a 5 workshop series from December through last month. We did it. We started off on basic grant writing. Did basic bookkeeping for nonprofits, which was workshop number 2. Most of my workshops have been geared towards the nonprofit.
Okay.
Just because a lot of our nonprofit clients have been reaching out to me and saying, hey, Dr. Proctor, when are you going to do these workshops? So we did writing, we did bookkeeping, we did social media, we did understanding the role of your nonprofit book board members. And the 5th one was like a bonus one for mainly the clients or the people who registered for the other workshops. Okay. So we publicized the trademark and copyright workshop, but Albert has expressed to me that he wants to come back again. So I may just do another free session on him explaining the difference between copyright and trademark, and what that process is like. And I think the fee quoted was like $700, and that includes the fees to get a copyright and his retainer as the attorney, which I think is you ain't gonna beat.
Right.
So if you do need the information, I'm going to definitely leave it with Jennifer so that we can pass it on. But you got to let him know that Dr. Proctor referred you, because he won't remember, he won't honor that price.
So this is an insider discount.
It's an inside. Yes, it's an inside.
Got it.
Yeah. But he's great at what he does. He's great. Yeah.
Okay. Crystal, you heard that? Crystal also said, does the student have to be from Pennsylvania to apply for the book scholarship?
No. That was the original plan. But then once the scholarship grew, we just opened it up, and it's not limited, to any.
That's something I just learned today. That's awesome.
Yes. So, the main reason why we had it locally was because the students would have to attend a luncheon and they would meet the person who gave the money for their book scholarship. So that's the main priority, but we're definitely opening up to students that are not from Pennsylvania and who are willing to make the trip to Philadelphia to attend the luncheon.
Awesome. Crystal's next question would have been like, well, I'm from Philly. Can I work that out? I got you, sis, but you're good. Even in Maryland, you can still get this this
And Jen,
yes. So
I'm gonna send you Albert's information.
Okay.
That way you can have it and you can pass it on and you can use it yourself.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I definitely will share that. So
he's great.
Yeah. Look, we getting some connections tonight. We're gonna get this inside referral discount that he got going on. Y'all make sure y'all say Wesley Proctor sent me. And then you can record this too. It's like, look, I got a receipt. He said it.
That's right. Please use my name. Absolutely.
We will. Sometimes people try to use names and drop names to get other things, but y'all make sure y'all ain't doing this to people. Because it does come back. Wait, let me talk about this. It does come back. People have used my name. They say, yeah, I'm such and such for Jennifer. It was like, oh, don't do bad service because that's my name that you done put out there. Make sure you're doing good. So again, let's do good quality service when we reach out, because they might come back and be like, you sent somebody to me. We don't want that to happen. So let's do good business. Amen.
Absolutely.
Amen.
Absolutely.
So Doc, what's something that we should walk away with from tonight?
Oh, a couple of things. Understanding the difference between a partner and an investor. Definitely. So an investor is someone who puts money into your business with the hopes that they will get something in return. So, and remembering that without that investment, that it wouldn't help build the business. But then the partner, on the other hand, is looking for ownership. Is or a percentage of ownership or some type of long-term commitment to the business. So they want to be very involved and integral into the business. That's one thing. The other thing is you got to be careful who you go into business with. Please screen people, make sure that you're doing the right thing. Get some wisdom and advice about that. Haphazardly just put people in because you know them. That's just a quarter of the battle. You gotta expand your thinking through the whole totality of the person. The other thing I want to really touch on is don't be afraid to fail, because failure always causes us to reflect and to learn and to grow from where we failed at and what we failed from. And we can take that and build from it. Although the failure stings and it hurts and it makes us feel like we've been rejected and it makes us feel like we will never recover. Oh, I've been there so many times. But you got to remember to learn from it and say, how can I grow from this failure? What could I have done differently? And then take that internal or external evaluation and really begin to build yourself up and then move forward from there. But most importantly, don't be afraid to start your business. Ask yourself, what is it that you want to do? What is it that you could do well, whether you get paid for it or not? That's a clear sign of how you begin to perfect your craft, how you begin to ignite your passion, because you can do it whether you get paid or not, because the money part of it will come. You just need to be in a position to be able to offer the service. The other thing I want to mention is make sure you have your paperwork in order. So that way, when it's time to roll out the business, you're ready to just go out full throttle like a horse out of a stable. You don't have to look back. You can just keep on going and keep on flying. And the last thing is, don't be afraid to pay for peace. So whether you go with me, whether you go with somebody else, whatever the case may be, don't be afraid to pay so you can focus on other things and you can let that person or that business do what they do well. And they have a track record behind what they do. So those would be my major takeaways from tonight. And I just want to say thank you for just even listening to little old me. And I hope I said something that really blessed you tonight.
Thank you so much, Doc. They're about to be in the comments saying that you did say something that was amazing. I just also want to say thanks again for that book award being available in other states, because Chris let me know that my godson wants to apply since he wants to major in pharmacy. So he's going to need some books.
Nice.
He's going to
Nice.
apply.
Nice.
We're going to make sure
What grade is he in?
He is, that's a good question. What grade is Ian in? But he's such a stellar student, always getting A's, making honors and things of that sort. I'm so very proud of him. So we're definitely going to apply for that, Crystal. I'll be in touch. So yes, I truly thank you for joining us on tonight. This has been amazing as always. It's always great to have just good conversation to help encourage and educate others on their options and things of that sort. So we want to keep that going.
Yes.
Again, you can check out Dr. Proctor's website, wesleyproctorministries.org. On a flyer, I did put his Instagram. He's on Instagram. He's also on Facebook. You know, I referred somebody else to you to connect with you on Facebook. They was like, I can't send a friend request. He has too many. So sorry, but you can still follow to get the information and know what's going on with him.
And Jen, they can also email me. So
yes.
Do you have my email address, drwtp@com? So they can email me. I'm sorry about the Facebook, but Facebook has a 5,000 limit friends.
He's popular. So again, you can always email him. He's always open to answering questions and sharing some information. So yeah, he'll be in 11th in August, she said.
When he gets ready to do the book, go to college, we should be up and running. So COVID should be pretty stable by then.
Yes. He's already doing prom stuff. That's why I was confused. He was like, "Can you support this fundraiser?" Yes, son, I got you.
Yes, thank you, Crystal. Thank you so much.
Yes, another Crystal said, "Dr. Proctor, full of information." Thank you. See, they enjoy it.
Oh, thank you so much.
Ooh, so again, thank you so very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
Anytime. So thank you. Y'all be sure to hit up Dr. Proctor if you need some support with anything nonprofit, for-profit related. And if he doesn't know, because he has about 5,000 friends, he knows somebody he can refer you to. So you go ahead and shoot him an email at drwtp@aol.com or check out his website. And thank you again so very much for joining us on tonight. Some more love. Melissa said, "Love you, Doc."
Well, love you, daughter. Love you. And Jen, can you share the information with the listeners about Albert? Is there some way you can get it to them?
Yes. So I'm going to give y'all that. So I'm looking at my phone because I'm going to get it to you because I don't want to forget. And Doc wants to make sure that you do have it. We do have a question while I'm typing this in. Jacqueline said, "Have you ever thought about giving funding for those of us who are non-traditional college age?"
That's a good question. Absolutely. And I know, thank you for that question. I know our Katherine Proctor Book Award was definitely, there was no age limit, and there's really no age limit to any of them. I just think because of the stereotype of going to college right after high school has been the norm. That's really what we've been focused on. But yes, we are definitely open to giving out scholarships to those who are in college that are non-traditional age, because my mother went back to college in her early 30s. And she definitely went back and got her degree. And she went back and got her master's at what, Jen, was it 62? And she got 3.9. Yeah. So, mom is the bomb. So absolutely. So we definitely are open to that. Thank you for your question.
Yes.
Real quick, I do want to give a shout out to our apostle, Dr. Jimmy A. Ellis III.
Yes.
Free Christian Center, my papa. And I want to give a shout out to my mom, Katherine Proctor, who is the Wesley Proctor Ministries. And I want to give a shout out to my entire board because they make me look good. Yeah. And I would be where I am today if it was not for them. So thank you.
Yeah. So Doc, I'm gonna also reach out to you because this is March and I feel like we had a goal for this month. How did we do? Did you do your goal?
Yes. Well, I put it on Minister Marquise. So he was supposed to reach out to who. So I don't know if he did or not. I think he said he did. But I know you'll follow up with him. Can you follow up with him for me?
Okay. See, I also do
You know,
goal
you get
planning with
involved.
people, and I hold people accountable to some things that they need to work on, and I check back in to see how they doing. And then when they tell me this stuff like this, I'm gonna follow up and make sure that it happens, though, because I got your back. Got your back.
Yes, and I'm putting him on blast because he definitely told me that he was going to handle it. So,
But y'all see how I got another assignment in it? Like, can you follow with them to make sure they follow with the people they need to follow up to make sure I get what I got to get done?
that's
But
how I love
hey,
it.
it's good to know people that can help you get your stuff done.
Yeah,
I have
absolutely.
learned you got to delegate. You can't do everything. So whoever can help you to connect the dots, go ahead and reach out to them to support. All right. So Albert, this is his email address. I'll leave that up there. You can screenshot so that you can have that. But I'll also so you can reach out to him if that's who you want to connect with. Again, tell them Dr. Wesley Proctor sent you. He
Yes.
said, take this video, run it back and things of that sort.
He is the best when it comes to trademark and copyright. He is the best.
So does it matter what state you're in for him as well?
Does not matter.
There you go. So again, you
Just
go ahead and reach out to
all
him.
over the world.
Because it'd be heartbreaking to have your stuff and then somebody tries to steal it and then you have a problem.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yes, Jacqueline, please go back and get your master's in social work. My mom has her bachelor's in social work and got her master's in early childhood.
That's it. Why not? Jacqueline,
Why
it's
not?
our theme for this month. Why not? Why can't you
Why
do
not?
it? There
Why
are
not?
scholarships available. It's free money out there. It
Absolutely.
will work. Go ahead and do it. Let me put this. I'm also notate this down so I can follow with you, Jacqueline, to see if you did that. You let me know. We're gonna work out our goal plan of when you apply and things of that sort. Because hey, we gotta hold each other accountable. If we say we want to do something, we want to do it, and we want people to encourage us to do it. Because that's
absolutely.
So very good. Thank you so much for joining us, Doc.
I love you, Jen. I love you anytime. And don't forget to send me the link.
Yes, I will not forget. So thank you again so much. May you have a great evening.
You too. Everybody have a blessed evening. Thank you for having me.
Yes. All right. Tonight we had Dr. Wesley Proctor. Start the business. That was great. So if you know what the keyword was, please put it down in the chat. And while you're doing that, I'll let you know what we have coming up. It is a day of empowerment on Saturday, May 15th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. It will be held virtually, and we're going to be talking about dating, healing, singleness, self-care, knowing your worth, and so much more. If you know what the theme word was, put it down in the chat. Let me also share with you two of our guests. We will have Bob Fleming and Tiffany Wilson. When I tell you that this event is going to be star-packed with some amazing people that are going to share some great nuggets, be sure to be in the place virtually, okay? Levon, you are the winner. You are the first woman nonprofit. Now, I saw you put that Keisha, but Keisha, you already got a ticket, Sunshine. I can't give it to you, so it goes to Levon. Oh, my goodness. Now, y'all showing off. All these people typing in nonprofit. Oh, you know what? I'm going to see what I could do. I'm going to see what I do. Because guess what? Somebody else just told me that they wanted to sponsor some more tickets. So I see you, Crystal. I see you, Jean. Jean was telling me, I thought I put it in. But tonight's winner is Levine. But I'll see what I can do for you, Crystal and Jean. I'll see what I can do. So, okay. So I got something to share with you. Two things. So next week, be sure to join us because we're going to have Dr. Naya Al-Amin talking about you can do it. She is going to close us out, and I am excited. Like her energy, I'm telling y'all just going to be inspired when she gets to talking because she's going to be pumping us up to encourage us to do what we need to do to finish out this month. Why not? Nothing is stopping us, okay? Don't forget our quote of the day. I knew that if I failed, I wouldn't regret that. But I knew the one thing I might regret is not trying. So friends, chosen friends, I feel like I haven't said that in a while. Chosen friends, I love you. We have to try. But guess what? Next week ends our March. But then guess what we got for April? I'm telling you, this girl is working. We have the More You Know April series. Check out who we got coming. Hey, it's your girl Jen Cares, and I want to invite you to join me for our April series, The More You Know. Beginning on Monday, April 5th, we will have Dr. Katrina King Join us as we ask a vet. Tune in on Monday, April 12th for Your Health Matters with Dr. Charles Farmer. Then we will have Dr. Nadira Coles on Monday, April 19th to talk about the C word, COVID-19. We will close out on Monday, April 26th with Nurse Crystal Creamer to learn about home health care. So tune in on Facebook Live or on YouTube by searching Chosen Counselors on Mondays at 8 p.m. Be sure to mark your calendars and tell a friend, as this Gen Care series is brought to you by Chosen Counselors. It's gonna be amazing. We got some doctors coming and some nurses and some medicals and things like that. So that's not my lane. That was not a field I was going in at all. I don't even like too much blood. I cut myself. I'm crying. So we have some professionals that are going to come and educate us on some areas. And guess what, Crystal and Jean? Sandy said she'll sponsor somebody. So you know what? Lavon, Crystal, and Jean, y'all all got a ticket tonight. All right. So we hope to see you in the place. I feel like that's everything that I have. Chosen friends, I really, really, really do love you all. I appreciate you all. I thank you so much for tuning in, liking, sharing, commenting, and hanging out with a sister. We was a little late tonight, but I thank you because you stayed. So again, I love you all for real. Until next time.